This video is brought to you by OpenVPP and Ionna. OpenVPP, a global virtual power plant for electric vehicles. See vehicles charging across the world and zoom in to see real-time charging status in what aims to be the world's largest vehicle virtual power plant. OpenVPP allows you to track charging history, energy usage, and daily trips, comparing your usage versus others, day to day and month to month. With OpenVPP, we're working together to showcase the potential of EV charging to electric grid operators. There may even be future coordinated EV charging rewards coming soon. So sign up today at world.openvpp.energy. It's completely free to join and takes under 60 seconds. And Ionna, the EV charging network brought to you by the world's leading automakers. Ionna is raising the bar on what it means to charge. We're talking a 400 kilowatt minimum nationwide network built with the customer in mind. Fast, reliable, affordable, every single time. Tesla just gave a giant middle finger to all of their customers, especially the customers that have been aspiring to own a Tesla and stretching in to get one. This is a decision that has completely blown my mind and our entire team's mind. Tesla has removed Autopilot from their cars, which means their cars no longer ship from the factory with basic lane centering. That is a feature that is standard on a Toyota Corolla and many other basic models, and a tech-forward EV like a Tesla no longer offers the most basic driver assistance functionality included in the vehicle cost. That is a real problem. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through what Tesla has done, what the response has been, and what I think they need to change to actually show that they care about their customer base. Well, this is our brand new Tesla Model 3 premium version that I just leased for FSD videos and testing. Now, Tesla offers the single best driver assistance system, at least in the Western world, and maybe the best in China. That requires going over there and doing another series of comparison test videos. But clearly, from everything I can see online, they have the best automated driving functions that anyone can purchase. And I am a heavy user of Tesla's FSD system, their so-called full self-driving supervised system. The way that works is you can buy any new Tesla off the line, but you have to subscribe to FSD for $99 a month currently in order to get those functionalities. And I'm going to take you for a ride in this car and show you all the different levels of driver assistance that we're talking about, so you can actually see what they do, because there's a lot of confusion out there as to what each level of assistance Tesla is offering. Now, if you buy this car today, or at least in the very near future, versus we just got this one last month, this car came standard with something called Autopilot, and that has been standard on Teslas forever. It's essentially lane holding on the highway, and you can set the speed. So you get a distance cruise control, adaptive cruise, they call it traffic aware cruise control, with lane centering, and that is like what most people are looking for in their car. Long distance highway lane centering support just to keep you in the lane as you're cruising down the road. That is no longer available in this car. You either will get traffic aware cruise control, which is distance cruise control, but you have to steer it. It'll ping pong you if you hit the line. I'll show you all of that. Or you then have to subscribe to FSD. You can no longer purchase FSD after an upcoming date in a few weeks from now. And that leaves financial uncertainty for anyone buying a new Tesla, because right now, full self-driving supervised is $99 a month, which is a lot of money when you're talking about a $300 or $400 a month lease payment. I leased this car for $300 a month. So that is a 30% increase over the cost of the vehicle to get the FSD software, something a lot of people will not be willing or able to stretch into. So the question becomes, now that they're removing the option to purchase FSD, and you have to subscribe to it, and we just heard that the price will increase, how can anyone that is on a financial plan who's either good with their money or just genuinely can't spend more money on transportation, how can you expect them to make a purchase on a vehicle with a subscription model that they're relying on for their daily commuting that could increase 2, 3, 5x? We just don't know. let's go in the car because it's freezing out here and talk a little bit. Here's the deal, guys. We're in the new Tesla Model 3 Long Range Premium that I just took a delivery of last month. And yes, this car came with these 3 levels of autopilot features. So this is the standard level, traffic aware cruise control. This car also came included with auto steer at no extra charge. And then we subscribe to full self-driving supervised, which allows this car to genuinely have the most amazing driver assistance on the planet. This FSD system, you'll hear everyone rave about it. It genuinely is amazing. It'll take you point to point with almost no interruptions needed. For example, we just did a video with my buddy David Moss, who drove 12,000 miles uninterrupted with FSD only. Now that does require some patience on his side. Obviously the car, I probably would have taken over, but from a safety standpoint, he was able to go 12,000 miles without taking over. And Alex Roy and team just set the cross-country record, 52 hours, something like that, of FSD from LA to New York. So it is a truly incredible system. No one is doubting that. Everyone that I've talked to is blown away after they experience FSD 14. The problem comes from the standard offering in the car. Some people, while they can appreciate how great FSD is, either don't want that, they enjoy driving, and most of our viewer base, comment down below if you fall into this category, are really just looking for on-highway lane centering assistance. So this is, you're on the B road or you're on an interstate and you just want the car to stay in the middle of the lane and you want it to lock it to a certain speed. You're just like, you know what, do speed with adaptive cruise and just stay in the middle of the lane. Lane centering has become such a basic functionality in the automotive sphere that even my diesel pickup truck offers lane centering, at least in my trim level, at no extra charge. And so the fact that a Tesla vehicle does not come with lane centering, auto steer anymore, is crazy to me. Now, the good news is if you already own a Tesla, I don't believe they can take away autopilot. For example, you can see this car has auto steer right here, and I'm pretty sure it always will. At least I hope it will, because it says so on the window sticker of the car. So it really has to do with new purchases going forwards where this feature will be taken away. But this leaves some financial uncertainty to the buying process into a new vehicle. For example, the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y standard never offered auto steer. They offered either adaptive cruise or FSD. I made a huge stink about it and I said, don't buy those models for that reason alone, because auto steer is all most people need. FSD is a really cool party trick right now, but you still have to stay supervised and you don't really get your time back in terms of like actual functionality, in my opinion. So that was a real pain point, and we were recommending to get the premium models because it came with basic lane centering and the standard ones did not. As of yesterday or 2 days ago, we heard no Tesla will come with basic lane centering. So let's go for a drive and we'll talk about what that means. And what I'm first going to do is put the car into traffic aware cruise control. So if you buy a new Tesla and you choose not to subscribe, and we'll talk about the pricing here in a minute, that will be your only option available. Now, the nice thing, at least from a safety perspective, is you have lane departure avoidance where it can ping pong you into a lane if you happen to run out. But just to show you the basic functionality that you will only have available to you in a Tesla, it will be this right here. Well, we are merging onto the interstate right now, and we're particularly excited. You can see all the brine on the roads. We are about to get hit hard this afternoon with a real weather event. So stay tuned for a bunch of FSD testing on snow and ice. Will be exciting. Right now, we're complaining though. So we're merging up onto the highway, driving manually. Teslas are still great to drive manually, especially Model 3, a super fun car. And now I have traffic aware cruise control enabled, and this is the level of assistance that I have available to me. So if I take my hands off the wheel, just to show you what happens, we're going to be drifting to the side of the road. Okay, there's a car nearby, but look, it pushes me back into the lane, but that's it. So then I'm going to hit it again, and it's yelling at me, take control immediately, and so then I go put my hands on the wheel. But you have to stay locked in on the road, and you have to totally do all those little adjustments just to stay in your lane. Now, driving's been like this for 100 years. People can do it. Yes, it's totally fine. but it is so much nicer just to have a basic lane holding system to take the little adjustments and the mental energy away from just having to center the car in the lane. It allows the driver to just step back, relax, keep an eye on the larger traffic situation, and be ready to take over whenever needed. Having a basic lane centering function is standard in a new Toyota Corolla and Honda products, and the list goes on and on. I cannot for the life of me believe that Tesla would take Autopilot or Auto Steer away. So Logan joins me behind the camera. Hey, Logan.
Hello, hello.
Dude, Tesla just renamed Autopilot on like their used car inventory list recently. They now call it Traffic Aware Cruise Control with Auto Steer. And
Really?
actually, this is now called Auto Steer, I'm noticing right there, instead of Autopilot.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So maybe they had to stop using the Autopilot name around this whole
Right,
change.
right.
It doesn't change the fact that that still shouldn't be standard, but isn't that wild?
That is what. Yeah, I didn't know that they changed that. Yeah, no, I think this whole situation is crazy. I'm somebody who owns a Model 3, has never had FSD, loves Autopilot. I love driving around town and taking turns and stuff, but those long road trips, you just want to, sit back and kind of just not have to do those micro adjustments. I think this is crazy.
Yeah, it's not like the cars got cheaper because of this. If they were like, hey, they're now $5,000 less.
Exactly.
We'd be like, okay, well, maybe it can make sense. Here's the other problem. You either get this lane centering, or lack of lane centering where you have to drive and it's just doing the distance cruise control. By the way, the distance cruise goes from 2 to 7. You don't even get the closest following distance.
Right.
It's been like this for years.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Tesla removed radar from the old cars, they backed off the following distance.
Oh, was that okay?
Yep, and now it's actually annoying. Look, we're on the closest distance, and you could park a school bus between us and that Jeep. FSD doesn't have this problem, by the way. FSD will get full right on the car in front.
Yep.
So it's just clearly a much older software stack that was running Traffic Aware Cruise Control with Autopilot. So now let me pull over. I'm going to show everyone what should be standard and what was standard up to this point in a new Tesla vehicle. So we'll pull over here and we'll enable Auto Steer is what they call it now. It's no longer Autopilot. So we'll put it into park. We'll hit Auto Steer, turn it on. And this is what should be basic included in the cars. And Logan, you are a user of this system. I've been using Auto Steer forever on road trips and really for even daily driving. There's a couple nice things and a couple negatives about the current state of Auto Steer. The negatives, let's start there. This is a completely different software stack from FSD in the sense that it still suffers from phantom braking. Mm-hmm. It still freaks out when the lanes get wide. Like if an exit ramp's coming on, it doesn't know what to do.
Yep.
And it just feels very primitive in how it handles lane holding. Now that's okay in a sense, I think, for most people, because when you're on the highway, you're just on a dotted line and you're good to go. But this still should have been updated over the years to remove the phantom brake, remove the crazy lane holding, and it definitely felt like it was overdue for an update. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, yeah. And so it makes you wonder if they were holding off on that in anticipation of this one day.
Right, so it's kind of like they never touched this for the last 5 years. So now here we are on Autopilot, and this is using eye tracking as well as torque on the wheel. The older Teslas only look for steering wheel torque for driver engagement, but because this one's actually equipped with FSD, it does automatic lane changes by hitting the stalk. You can also do a feature called Navigate on Autopilot, which always just drove me nuts because it would take the wrong lane changes at the worst time and cut people off, and it was always just annoying. All I really want out of a car is basic lane holding and for the ability to set a speed cap. Now, this is the main reason that I would use Auto Steer over FSD on highway drives. The first is I can pick when to make lane changes. So I can say, all right, there's probably a car or two back there, or maybe even a cop back there. I'm going to nudge in the right lane, chill for a bit, let traffic clear, and then get over. Whereas with FSD, it's always making the lane change decision, and I disagree a lot with where it's making lane changes. It has gotten better, though. And with this function, I can actually set a max speed. So most people, a lot of my friends, especially if you live here in the South, the police are like, 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine. That's the saying. You can drive 9 over wherever you go, but as soon as you hit 10, 12, 15 over the speed limit, you become a target. Now, I'm not saying I've never done that before, but you know, I just want to have the option to say I want to pick the maximum speed I'm willing to travel and do not exceed that speed no matter what. And auto steer gives us the ability to do that, unlike FSD. So to me, this is the most relaxing way to travel down the highway. If you look straight ahead, you can see we're perfectly centered in the lane. We have the speed perfectly set where I want it to be. I'm in the left lane right now. As soon as we cross the path of this car, I'm still actively engaged and involved. I can click the right turn signal. The car's going to wait for enough of a gap. It'll make a super nice lane change. I have controlled it to do that. There is a social aspect to driving that goes way beyond just the safety of driving, and I'm blending in with traffic and I'm not pissing anyone off. FSD sometimes just does some weird stuff. Have you experienced that, Logan?
Yeah, absolutely. I get the trials once in a while, and I always turn it off on the highway. I hate it.
Yeah, it just does not have that social layer into the AI that makes it blend in perfectly with traffic yet.
It also just changes lanes too often, you know, regardless.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about auto steer. It's the speed is set, and I can change the lane with just a turn signal, or if you don't have FSD, you just move it to the lane you want it to go in and then put it back on. Super easy, very basic. Now I'm going to show everyone what the subscription is for FSD. So what we just experienced, which is all most people are looking for in their car. I get there's this FSD enthusiast crowd where it's like, once you have it, you can't live without it. They want to like be evangelists for FSD. I feel like it's almost a religion. And it's kind of weird because, like, who cares what other people are using on the roads?
Yeah, I feel like we could make probably a whole video about just that whole community.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, why let me experience whatever I want to, but don't put that on other people.
Right, yep.
So, you know, it's yeah, that's worth a whole video at some point.
It really is, yeah.
It's just great. So it's like, yeah, you know, you could argue maybe it makes the road safer, but not, you know, there's such a few percentage of Teslas on the road. It's not going to make any difference if everyone uses it. All right, so then you have to pay for full self-driving supervised. Now, currently there are two options to pay for this. You can pay $8,000 a month. Oh, no, excuse me. $8,000 single pay. Thank you. Which will then lock you to the vehicle. And now if they said, hey, $8,000, you can transfer it whenever you want, and it sticks to all the cars on your account, that would be awesome. The other way to get FSD, which is the only way you'll be able to get it into, you know, the very short future from now, is to subscribe to it for a monthly recurring fee of currently $99 a month. And we have just heard that, I'm just going to point this, let's see, where's the exit ramp? The next one up. See, I can't, this is where we need to go. So we'll drop her right there. And I'll show everyone how amazing this is. I can just hit start self-driving, and now it pulls us out and it does all this. And it's so cool. And it really is an incredible feature. But it's not really life-changing because it's not like the car's driving and I can do something else. I'm still required to supervise it. And especially for older people, I find it's hard for them to know exactly when they should take over if there's an emergency situation versus when the car can handle it. And that will all improve and get better in the very near future. But it still requires supervision. And yeah, so pricing wise, $99 a month. Logan, what's the impression on that per month for you? I mean, you're a younger person. It's over a third of the lease price of this car.
Yeah, for me, so I've had the same opinion the whole time as far as subscription goes, which is always that I think $100 a month, if you can ride in the back seat, is a wonderful deal. Mm-hmm. And if you're in the driver's seat, I think it's a little expensive.
Okay, understood.
So you know, we're already seeing robo-taxis in Texas with the, you know, back seat situation and no driver. Mm-hmm. I think when that comes to consumers, I'm fully on board. $100 a month, you know, sit in the back, take a nap, or, you know, get some work done. That to me feels worth it. Yeah, so then it becomes like almost a marketplace for your time. How much is that time of your driving worth? And then are they going to bill you for the number of miles traveled? Right.
Or, yeah. And, you know, then you become sort of like beholden to the subscription of your life. The thing is, Elon just tweeted, and you know, it's making auto lane changes. I can't set the maximum speed I'm willing to let it go. So I'm in standard, which is too slow. So let's go to hurry, and it should eventually bump the speed up. But what I really wanted to do is just sit at 80. I don't like, why are we not accelerating now? This is what pisses me off more than anything. I've got it in Mad Max. It still won't go more than 5 over. Now I can push the accelerator pedal, bring it up to speed a little bit. I'm off, by the way. And now it's running, where I want it to be. But I just want it to stay here at 80. Sometimes Mad Max will start to go 85, which then makes you a target for police. And for highway driving, it's just, you really do got to stay on top of the system in terms of its speed and lane change profiles. So Elon tweeted that the $99 a month will increase, Logan.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's rough because now it means if you are someone who is careful with your money or unable to spend a lot of money, you may actually get priced out of the functionality of FSD.
Yeah, and so I think there's 2 points there. One of them is, now it's even maybe less worth it for somebody who, again, just needs base autopilot, and now they might be paying more than $100 a month. But I think the other point is people that are currently happy with the $100 a month price are not locked into that price. There's no contract. And so your car that doesn't have base autopilot, even if you're okay right now at $100 a month, are you okay if they put it to $350, all of a sudden, right?
There's no saying how high they'll go.
You have no idea. There's no 1 year agreement,
Right. If they said, hey, you bought a car in this month, it's guaranteed $99 a month for the life of the vehicle,
right,
you can at least make the plan around that.
Yep.
If it might go to $150, or maybe they say unsupervised is now $299 a month, but supervised is $99, it gets really crazy. And here's an example. Before we were driving straight 80 miles an hour, right? In autopilot, doing the speed I want it to go. We're now down to 74. It made a super late lane change there, and it just feels totally not conducive to making the progress I want the car to make on the highway. It's not going faster than 78 miles an hour in Mad Max. Feels very un-Mad Max-like right now. And other times, it'll be screaming through traffic and cutting up like a BMW in LA. It's just unbelievably frustrating to use FSD on a highway drive. Now, it does some amazing things. It takes exits. On back roads, it's actually really, really great. But having just basic speed and lane holding on the highway should be standard, and it should be the expectation. If Tesla was the only one offering autopilot and no one else did, this would be a different topic. But the fact that a Nissan Leaf has lane center and just beat a Tesla Model Y in a driver assistance comparison that we did, because we compared base car to base car, no subscriptions. That's unacceptable in 2026. And I think the question becomes, Logan, is it good enough, or I should say, are people not going to buy Teslas because of the unknown price of driver assistance into the future? Do you think there will be people that look at other brands because of this?
I feel like right now people it's still kind of that enthusiast crowd to some extent, but I think as they broaden and as they continue to try to target the general market, I think that will happen.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if you start telling someone like my mom, who is recognizes how cool FSD is, but clearly is capable of driving herself and still enjoys to drive. A lot of people, really, including me, love to drive still, just need the basic lane holding. They're going to say, hey, I can't even do the basic functionality of staying in the lane on the highway anymore. And you may not want to deal with the crazy speed control of FSD. See, now we're going too fast. I just want to go 80. But if I go back to, standard drive profile, we're on the brakes, now going too slow. This is what drives me insane. I think people are going to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's a real problem. You can recognize how great the full self-driving supervised software is and how ahead of everyone they are. And they really are. And it is incredible. But this just feels like a giant middle finger to their customers who, A, just want basic speed and lane choice while driving down the road, and B, want financial sureness that they know how much their vehicle will cost them into the future.
I think for me as well, all of this FSD stuff aside, if you just look at the MSRP of the vehicle and then look at the fact that you can't even option lane centering, I think the worst example of this is a Model Y Performance.
It's like 60 grand. Right?
Yeah, and so just the price and just that feature, that's already a problem. Just in our current USA car market, that's a problem.
Yeah, I agree. Now, it might make sense for you to subscribe to FSD if you're going to be doing a lot of driving 1 month and then cancel it when you're not going to be using it. But to me, it just feels super shady. It leaves everyone on, sort of loose ground financially. And again, the system is not geared towards the highway. Logan, look at this. We're doing 77 miles an hour in hurry with no one in front of us, and I just want it to go 80. So then you bump it to Mad Max, still not increasing. Old school autopilot. If we come back here to this, and I can say, well, you got to be parked to throw it back in autopilot. But if you just throw it back in autopilot, it just sets the speed and you just tell it where to go. And that is a relaxing feature to have on the highway. So with all that said, we also have some input from our team, Logan, from our colleagues. And I think we should see what they have to say before we end the video. But this is, man, Tesla not thinking about the consumer one bit. They have a pretty good lane centering system, and they should have just kept it, or they should have updated Autopilot with FSD on guardrails to say, okay, put the new software stack that we're experiencing right now, lock it to highways only, something to give us just basic lane centering, which is an automotive standard offering in 2026, and the most tech-forward automaker just removed it to force you into a subscription model. That is unacceptable. That's worse than BMW doing subscription for heated seats.
Completely agree. I don't think anybody is thrilled about this.
No, except for a couple like investors, because it forces people to then, if they're going to buy a Tesla, they then have to get that recurring revenue. But from my perspective, I don't care about investors. I just want the best product for our viewers. And this is not the path forwards. Yeah, if you were going to get FSD anyway, this doesn't affect you. But still, if it's only a 10 or 20% take rate, most people weren't going to get FSD, and it negatively affects them. Let's go see what everyone else had to say.
FSD being amazing is completely irrelevant when talking about this issue. FSD is great. I like FSD, and I've tried it in the US, the proper 14 version. It is absolutely amazing, but you shouldn't force your customers into having an expensive subscription for your car at all. I think that's just bad behavior. I can't understand that Tesla did this. I am actually very surprised that they did this. I know they have full faith in their FSD system, and that's okay and that's nice, but it's completely separate. This is about competing with other cars that have lane holding systems standard. And Tesla has been known, at least in Europe, for having this lane holding system standard. And now they just go away from it. I think it's really, really stupid from Tesla, actually. And I don't think you should ever force your customers into a subscription. They should offer a fantastic product, and the customer can choose if they want to buy the product or not. Not force them into a $100 a month or more subscription when they just want basic lane holding.
I have owned 3 different Teslas, and I've never subscribed to FSD. I've been an Autopilot user. I purchased these cars because they're actually fun to drive. Now, it's not to say I hate full self-driving, because I think it is an unbelievably impressive software that you can basically purchase one of these cars and it can drive you across the country uninterrupted. It is truly exceptional. But there's also a lot of times that I don't want the car to make every single decision for me. I don't want to be locked to a speed profile to have the car decide what speed it wants to go or what lane it wants to be in. I just want to throw on autopilot, keep me in the lane, keep the speed going, be aware of the traffic in front of me, and just cruise down the road. I think this is the biggest issue for folks coming in, especially for Model 3 and Model Y, that may be trying to stretch to get into a Tesla. Teslas have a lot of amazing features, industry-leading software, a very compelling overall package in general. And I think removing base autopilot is one of the worst decisions Tesla has ever made, because now a lot of people who are trying to be within that maybe $400 to $500 a month car payment are now going to have to fork out 20 to 25% more to just have basic lane assistance. And I think that is a huge miss by Tesla. I have many, many more thoughts. Maybe we can get into them in another video, but I'm hugely disappointed by this decision by Tesla.
I think that's such a slap in the face to people who want an entry-level Tesla and maybe they can't afford that extra $100 a month subscription. I think it's so unfair, and I don't quite understand the direction that Tesla is going. I can see that they're trying to push more and more subscribers to FSD, but I don't think eliminating their base Autopilot, which serves so many people, is the way to do that. I'm really disappointed to hear this news.
So when Tesla came out with the standard Model Y without Autopilot, I was like, what are you kidding me? They're not going to allow you to do lane centering, something as simple as lane centering. You got to buy full FSD. Now, that was like one of the main reasons I said you shouldn't buy that version. Go for the premium rear wheel drive, right? Not the base one. Now they're playing hardball and they're saying, look at this FSD. It's an amazing piece of technology, but not everyone needs everything that it does. For years, I've been using just Autopilot on the highway and I've loved it. And it's amazing. It's great. So now you're not going to even have that. Think about the competition, what they're doing. You're getting lane centering with many different cars that are out there. You don't get FSD. It isn't even available. So look, Tesla is doing something very calculated here. They're moving away from a business model where they make money once to a business model where they make money every single month. A residual cash flow business. From a multiple standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. And I get why they're doing it. And by the way, I did pay for Autopilot, or Autopilot. I paid for FSD in my Model 3. So this isn't personally going to affect me or impact me. But I wonder how many people will actually opt for paying a subscription service for FSD. Now, FSD today with supervised is $99 a month. You know they're going to charge more for unsupervised. Is it going to be $199 or is it going to be $159 or whatever it is? Why? Because they are giving you time, right? You can now go in your car once unsupervised comes out, theoretically, and you'll be able to have your car drive you to work while you're on your conference calls, you're on your text messages, you're working on your laptop. Time is money. So, man, if this vision really takes off and it ends up being the as good as everyone thinks it's going to be, and I think every day more and more people are thinking that this vision is coming. We just saw the first unsupervised Model Y trip yesterday, right? So interesting to me that this is that they're forcing this in. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to piss off a lot of people, but they'll probably just buy the Tesla and get $99 for FSD because a lot of them will just use it for highway cruising, just for a regular base Autopilot. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
So my perspective when it comes to Tesla eliminating Autopilot across the lineup is it kind of seems like a bit of a money grab to me. When we're talking about these cars, like say for a Model 3 or a Model Y, people that are buying or leasing these cars, we're talking about $400 to $600 a month, depending on lease or financing and which model and whatever. But $400 to $600 a month, an extra $99 a month is a pretty big increase in cost for a lot of people that are getting a hold of these cars, and not everybody can afford that, and not everybody wants the features that come with that. We can see that the uptake of FSD currently is about 20%. I see this as a way for Tesla to try and increase those numbers, but it's at the detriment of the customer. And it's kind of just a furtherance of this, sort of own nothing and be happy kind of movement where everything becomes a subscription model, which I'm definitely not a fan of. So I think it's a big mistake on Tesla's part, especially when basically every manufacturer has lane keep assist features as standard. Ultimately, I think that this is probably going to hurt sales, and people that are looking for that functionality without the full features of FSD, they're just going to shop elsewhere.
Well, this is some crazy news. The $60,000 Model Y Performance no longer comes with auto steer, meaning it only does adaptive cruise control but will not drive you in the lane. That is insane to me. It was an unpopular thing on the base model, standard rear-wheel drive 3 and Y. And now they're taking it off of all of the cars. So paying 60 grand for a car, I still have to pay a subscription model to get this, is absurd. In this world of everything's turning to subscriptions, cars like at that price level, that's just not okay. It's not a competitive thing. It's not looking out for the consumer. This is looking out for shareholders. It's just not an acceptable thing to see from Tesla. There's not much more I have to say on it other than I would be surprised if Tesla didn't take this back in some months to come or something. Just completely sad.
Wow, absolutely crazy news. I get the whole FSD push thing. It's great software. We all know this, especially 13 and 14, wildly capable. But my opinion has always been that it's pretty expensive. And until we can be in the back seats of our own cars, I don't know that it's worth it for everybody, because it's not quite a robotaxi yet. You still have to be, in the driver's seat. As somebody who owns a Tesla that does not have FSD, I have never subscribed. I have never bought, that $8,000 option. I love base Autopilot, and to think that a Model Y Premium, for example, will be coming without basic lane centering at that price, is not a premium experience. And I think a great note of that is that I am currently in a VinFast VF8 that we have, and I'm lane centering. And this is not, a software-defined car. VinFast is by no means known for autonomy or software. And, that's not to knock Tesla's autonomy, because obviously they are wonderful. But to be known for that and to sell a car for that price without basic lane centering is a huge miss for me. And as a Tesla owner who loves basic lane centering, I think this is crazy.
Well, there you go, guys. Tesla removing base Autopilot, base auto steer, a needed base standard functionality in any modern vehicle in 2026 is insane for a company that should be the most tech-forward, tech-leading company. I think from my perspective, what Tesla should have done was potentially to update the lane centering or autopilot software to use the same stack as full self-driving, limit the functionality hardcore, and then maybe at least show like a thing on the screen that says, hey, you could be, like, just as a non-annoying warning, you could be FSDing right now if you subscribed. I think a lot of people were experiencing Autopilot and thinking that was FSD, but that's no reason to remove the base functionality from the vehicle. This is something that customers expect and they demand. And I truly think folks that were never going to subscribe to FSD or had no interest and just want a reasonable, high quality, nice techie daily driving experience, which Model 3 and Model Y offer as some of the best new cars on the market, they just want to be able to cruise up and down the highway or B roads with the car locked in the middle of the lane. This is crazy to me. You can see the rest of the team is with me on this. I did not share my opinions with them before I asked them to insert those video clips, by the way. I really can't wait to see what you guys think in the comments below. But yeah, might be time. If you were never going to get FSD or not interested in that, you might have to start looking at other vehicles on the market outside of Tesla that do a great job at offering lane centering, many of which offer it standard. Thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Hopefully we can update this story when Tesla changes their mind. I can't imagine they won't. It's just wild to me. But thanks for watching. See you in another one again soon. Bye-bye.